Story time on how I found out my best friend was 5 months pregnant with my boyfriend's baby. And not only was she pregnant by my boyfriend, no, he was obsessed with me and tried to replace me. Seats included. Strap in. Forgot to mention, my best friend is 16, my boyfriend is 18, and I am 17. So me and my best friend would have been friends for 2 years. Me and my boyfriend had only been dating for like 3-4 months. I told my best friend everything about my relationship. He knew about every single argument, every single breakup. Eventually it got to the point where we all three would hang out with each other. I was extremely close with my boyfriend and my best friend. They were basically the people closest to me in my life at that time. We all started telling each other everything. But it started to get weird when I noticed that some things I told my best friend, my boyfriend would all of a sudden know about, and some things I only told my boyfriend, my best friend would all of a sudden know about. Which means that they were communicating without me knowing. So, that's suspicious. At one point, we all went to this party together. They all of a sudden just disappear, and I'm looking for them for like half an hour, calling, texting, no response. So I start asking people. This one specific person said, "Oh, I saw them go upstairs, holding hands, just the two of them." I was ready to kill. Part two of how I found out my best friend was 5 months pregnant with my boyfriend's baby. Not only did she get pregnant by him, no, he was obsessed with me and tried to replace me. So we're at the party and my boyfriend and my best friend are nowhere to be seen. So I ask around and someone tells me that they saw them go upstairs together. So upstairs I go. I see my boyfriend and he's just talking to some friends. Well, I'm like, we all friends. I want to talk too. Where the fuck were you? He's like, "Oh, I was just up here, chilling with the homies." We're all standing in front of a door, and then I see my best friend walk out of the bathroom that's right across that door. At the time, I didn't really put the pieces together that they just got freaky. But several months after the party, I did start to realize something. My best friend was gaining weight. Everybody else noticed it too. And during these months, my boyfriend also got a new job. We couldn't see each other as much. Like I said, everyone noticed that my best friend was gaining weight. And rumors started to spread that she was pregnant. But no one knew who was the dad. Like I said, me and my best friend told each other everything. So if she was going to tell anybody who the baby daddy was, it would have been me. But I had no clue. She said she was just gaining weight. She texted me and asked if me, her, and my boyfriend could all meet up somewhere to talk. That talk did not end well. Stay tuned for part 3. Part 3 of how I found out my best friend was 5 months pregnant with my boyfriend's baby. Not only was she pregnant, she was obsessed with me and tried to replace me. Receipts included, child. Okay, so rumors are going around that my best friend is pregnant. She texts me and says she wants me, my boyfriend, and her to all meet up somewhere. All three of us have not hung out together in a while, so I was down. So we meet up at her house. My parents weren't home, we had the house to ourselves, so it was just the best place to meet up. But when I get there, my boyfriend and my best friend are already sitting on the couch. I cannot believe my eyes, child. This girl had a pregnancy test in her hand. I was like, "Put that shit away. I'm not fucking playing with you right now. Put that shit away." She basically tells me that it's exactly what it looks like. Told me that it happened at the party. By this time, it was April. I'm thinking, child, that's 5 months. They was mute for 5 months. I was dating this man who is 18, about to be 19, and got my just turned 16 best friend pregnant. But she wasn't apologetic. Good sis was laughing. Something was funny, or she planned this shit all along, which was proven right after I got this text message from her after I blacked out and woke up in jail. Pause to read. There's a lot of curse words, so the rest will be on my Instagram story. This is a highly requested story time of the second time that I encountered the KKK. The first story time I posted about my first encounter, a lot of people in the comments were saying that I was lying or I was just making it up. Something as serious as the KKK is not something to ever joke about. I have done so much activism and still continue to do activism on my platform that I would never make up something like this. To my viewers know that I live in a really racist area. This is not a surprise. Just keep in mind that calling out people's experiences and saying that they're fake or they're lying can make it hard for other people that have experienced things like that as well to come out about their stories too. And this encounter, I actually did take pictures. I had pictures of my old iPhone 6, but now it's broken. I don't have any access to any of the pictures in that phone anymore. When it did happen, I posted those pictures on my Snapchat story. There's people out there that know that shit actually happened. Anyways, let's get started. So it was literally in the exact same area as it was last time. That creepy old rundown gunpowder factory in the middle of the night. Instead of being with my sister, I was actually with my mom this time. And we were going to pick up my older brother from work. He worked really late for whatever reason. Instead of coming out of the woods like last time, they were just standing there. Part 2. This is the time I fought my mom because her boyfriend was touching me in my sleep and she defended him. I was 16 when this happened. I'm 20 years old now. He was touching me, she knew about it, and she didn't do anything. Yes, they're still together till this day, and no, I do not talk to either of them. Let's get into it. So my mom had just recently divorced my dad, and so she got a new boyfriend. His name was Daryl. Now let me tell you, I was not rocking with Daryl from jump because he was always a little too touchy. If I sat down next to him, he'd squeeze my knee, he would sneak up behind me and rub my shoulder, and when he would hug me, his hands would go a little too far down my back. Whenever he would come over, I'd just stay in my room. But one night, it was like damn near midnight. Mind you, I'm asleep because I don't play by my sleep. I wake up suddenly because I had a feeling somebody was in my room. So I turn on my lamp that's on the side of my bed. When I turn around, I see Daryl in my room with his back turned towards me, trying to sneak out of my room. But not only was he trying to sneak out of my room, he had my panties in his hands. So I look under my covers, and sure enough, my panties are gone. Part 2 gets even worse. This is part 2 of when I fought my mom because her boyfriend was touching me in my sleep and she defended him. So I suddenly woke up in the middle of the night to see him trying to sneak out of my room with my panties in his hands. Instant tears started flooding my eyes because I knew what he had done. And I knew that if I told anyone, no one would believe me. Because like I said, I didn't like him from jump because he was always too touchy. And I told my mom how I felt that way and she told me that I need to start wearing less revealing clothes. But back to what I was saying. If that motherfucking low life ass piece of shit notices that I woke up, he runs out of the room, and then I hear him leave through the front door. So I quickly get dressed so I could go tell my mom what happened because I didn't know what else to do. I wake her up and go, "Ma, Daryl just touched me in my sleep." He says, "Girl, stop making up these low fantasies in your head and go back to sleep." And so I told her, no, I woke up in the middle of him trying to leave my room with my panties in his hands, and once he noticed that I saw him, he left through the front door. Then she gets mad at me and starts yelling at me and says, and I quote, "I don't need you running men out my house." That's crazy because my dad was her 5th husband, Daryl was about to be her 6th. If anybody was running men out this house, it was her. I'm tired of her BS at this point. She's yelling all up in my face, and so I shove her. This is where it gets crazy. Part 3 of the time I fought my mom because her boyfriend touched me in my sleep and she defended him. So I woke up my mom to tell her that her boyfriend had just touched me in my sleep. And she gets mad at me and starts yelling and screaming at me. With the amount of shit that she put me through, she had no right. So I'm sick of her BS at this point, and so I shove her. I had never put my hands on my mama before this. My mama deserved to get her ass whooped. How toxic she was. If she wasn't my mama, if she was just some other regular bitch, I probably would have already threw hands with her like 10 times. So now we're on the floor of her bedroom, scrapping it out. No, I did not show her no mercy. Obviously, I went and whooped her ass because 16 years of being mistreated. Come on, at this point, I had a heart of steel and hands of steel. So she's screaming and she's yelling and she's talking about, "I'm gonna call the police on you." I was like, call them. After I tell them what happened, they're gonna be on the look for your boyfriend. She tells me to get my stuff and get out. I said, say less, so I start packing. I texted a close friend who I had already told about Daryl being a creep, and they came to get me. I lived with that friend for 2 years until I turned 18 and moved into my own place. I have an amazing boyfriend who understands my trauma and takes everything slow with me. I no longer have contact with Daryl or my mom, and now I only see them through social media posts. This is a story about the time I got arrested because I was with my friend when she stole from Kroger. So I was at Kroger looking for snacks with my friend, let's call her Kaylee. Kaylee goes and wanders off somewhere and leaves me in the bread aisle. She didn't tell me where she was going, but about 10 minutes later she came back with a pair of lashes in her hands. She tells me she paid for the lashes up front and to put them in my pocket. I didn't know that she was stealing, so I put them in my pocket. One of the workers saw and called the police. When the police arrived, Kaylee grabs the lashes and tries to make a run for it. So I look after her and I yell, "Justice for Brandon Bernard." Why did I yell that, you may ask? Because this story didn't actually happen. But since you're watching, you might as well finish the video. A somewhat similar situation did happen to a black man named Brandon Bernard who was executed last night at 9:27 p.m. for a crime he did not commit. He was pressed with 2 murder charges for only being an accomplice to a murder. He didn't murder anyone, yet he still got charged with murder. Now Trump could have stopped all of this, but he didn't have enough time to save a black man from being executed. He was too busy tweeting. And this is one of the many tweets that he made while he could have been preventing the execution. So is the world really killing itself? Or will y'all not just stop killing black people? This is the time I found out my mom was cheating on my dad with my ex-boyfriend. With my ex-boyfriend, and you already know your girl came with the receipt. Let's get into it. So around January last year, me and my boyfriend of 1 year had just broken up. And around that same time, I noticed that my parents' relationship was going down the drain too. I'm an only child. I could see how fake my parents would be around each other. It's honestly like they didn't even try to hide it. So one night I asked to use my mom's phone because I needed to look something up in that very moment and my phone was dead. And obviously I don't just look for what I need. I invade her privacy because if she had free access to my phone, she would have done the same thing. So I'm scrolling through her phone, then I open iMessage. First thing I see is a conversation with my ex-boyfriend. I wasn't surprised that she had his number because I gave it to both of my parents while we were dating just in case of emergencies. So I click on their conversation and this is what I see, child. At the time, I wasn't paying attention to the date. I just assumed that they were old messages from when he would be coming over to see me. But later on, when I caught them together, I threatened to expose him unless he sent me all their messages, which will be posted on my Instagram story. And I found out that those messages were from the day before I caught them together, which happened the next day. Part 2 of the time my mom cheated on my dad with my ex-boyfriend. Receipts included. So like I said, I saw these messages on my mom's phone between her and my ex-boyfriend. Here they are again. I wasn't paying attention to the date, so I thought they were old. Until the next day. So I'm with my friend and I'm in the passenger seat of her car. I open Snapchat and I accidentally click on Snap Maps. I see something weird. It says my ex is at my house. I'm thinking it has to be a glitch because why the fuck is this man at my house? We were somewhat close to my house, so I asked if we could pass my house real fast just to see if he was actually there. We drive past and we see his car in the driveway. And then we see him get out of his car. I'm trying to see what the fuck is up because after those text messages I saw, I don't trust him. I'm on they ass like back pockets. I tell my friend, park behind this big ass tree, girl. We finna watch. So he walks up to the front door. And before he even knocks, before he even rings the doorbell, my mom opens the door, smiling all big and shit. And she opens her arms and hugs him. So she was expecting his arrival. But that was just a little friendly hug, right? You know, nothing too crazy. And they both proceed. This was a team effort to kiss. I pass out. Part 3 gets crazy. Part 3 of the time my mom cheated on my dad with my ex-boyfriend. Receipts included. After I see on Snap Maps that he's at my house, me and my friend drive past my house to see if he was actually there, and his car was in the driveway. My mama opens the door for him before he even knocks. Then me and my friend witness them lock lips. At this point, my blood is cold. The way I hop out that car faster than you could say homewrecker. So there I am running towards them. Obviously, they see me running towards them, eyes wide open, and they start looking at each other. I'm like, hey, don't look at each other, look at me. Look over here. What y'all staring at each other for? So I asked them if I just saw what I just saw. Obviously, they try to gaslight me. My friend was there and she saw it, so ain't no fooling me. So I'm screaming at them and I'm going at it. And they're screaming back like they didn't just do what they did. Our neighbor, who is a cop, hears us arguing and comes outside and tries to defuse the situation. He asks us what's going on. I just tell him that everything's fine, and then we go inside. So we go inside and I sit them both down. I'm more curious as to how they even formed this whole entire relationship. So I tell my ex that I won't expose him if he sends me all the messages between him and my mother. Making part 4 right now. Part 4 of the time I found out my mom was cheating on my dad with my ex-boyfriend. So once I caught them, I told my ex-boyfriend that I wouldn't say anything to anyone if he sent me all the messages between him and my mother. There my mom was, still trying to lie about it, still trying to deny it. Like me and my friend did not just see them both trade spit. He ends up agreeing, and there my mom is just looking dumb. And she says, if he sends you these messages, you're not allowed to tell your dad. I was like, yeah, sure, whatever. Obviously, I was still gonna tell my dad. All of those messages are posted on my Instagram story. So I did end up telling my dad, and he divorced my mom. Not surprised, it was gonna happen anyways. Their relationship was going down the drain. We both move out, and then I stay with my dad until I go to college and get my own dorm. I still talk to my mom every now and then because she was never a bad mom. I never understood and will never understand where this whole thing came from. Just that one incident was traumatizing and uncalled for. Our relationship after that was never the same. It was just always awkward. Last thing I heard about my ex was that he moved to States.